Welcome in for episode 10 of the Cheney Chat, the official podcast of the Tacoma Rainiers. Rylee and Andy Helwig with you for another great episode, this time joined by Charlie Beilenson, one of the newest additions to the Rainiers roster, and what a fantastic interview with him between his experience at Brown and Duke. I mean, where to begin with just all of the life experience that he has as well.
I mean, probably the most well-educated baseball player maybe in the minor leagues right now. I mean, degrees from Brown, 2 masters from Duke. I mean, what a great kid, too. And you can tell, I mean, he's locked in. He's got a really great read on things. He's been fun to have around, just since his initial come up here to Tacoma. And he's been pretty good, too. The pitch has been great. Been fun watching him around. So a really fun conversation with him, getting to learn about the upcomings of the Ivy League. Our second Ivy League pitcher, by the way, right? Josh Simpson here earlier, too. And the Duke lifestyle and all that comes with that, too. It's a great time.
I know. I learned a ton. And I think it's fascinating, too, like his connection to economics and analytics, just how that kind of goes hand in hand. I think that's really fascinating, especially for a reliever to kind of dive into.
Just get to nerd out about stats and stuff,
right?
That's it, like, I mean, what pitches to throw, the percentages of, what's going to be most successful for you. I mean, you can see the overlap for sure. It just makes sense that the analytical mind is able to handle all that information because there's so much of it.
Yeah. Well, we learned a ton from Charlie Beilenson, who is joining us today for episode 10 of the Cheney Chat.
Today's guest on the Cheney Chat, former Brown Bear, Duke Blue Devil, where he was an All-American and a 5th-round pick by the Seattle Mariners. One of the newest Tacoma Rainiers. Ladies and gentlemen, Charlie Beilenson, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here.
So let's take it all the way back for you. I mean, you're one of the newest pitchers here. People want to get to know you. I mean, your high school career, getting to Brown, what was the initial experience for you like? Because you've said, on the record that your high school career wasn't the best, I mean, you get to Brown where you're a student first. I mean, kind of tell us what that process was like for you, getting to an Ivy League school and pitching there.
Sure. Definitely an understatement on wasn't the best in high school. My whole process there was just trying to use baseball to get to the best school that I could. So every tournament I went to was some sort of like an academic kind of thing, and was lucky enough that Brown happened to find me throwing 90 the one time I might have hit it in my entire high school career. Probably never came close again because I didn't once I got to Brown either. But my time there, it was the best experience. I would never choose any school over it ever again. It was nothing short of the best.
What'd you major in at Brown?
I did economics. Yeah.
Economics at Brown. So
that's intense, yeah. What was it like there? Just like the academic scenery for Brown? Kind of day-to-day as a student athlete, especially.
Yeah. Brown is, I think, a unique kind of school because we can choose any class we want. There's no prerequisites. There's grades.
Nice.
Great, yes. No, it was the best thing ever. So I took everything in my major. I took all my economics classes, and then on the side was just whatever I felt interested in the time. I took lots of I took astronomy classes, life science classes. I took just kind of across the board. I really liked the Mars, Moon, Earth kind of thing. That was one of their classes, one of the title of our classes. And I just really enjoyed just getting a broad view of everything while also refining into the economics into what I was mostly interested in. But Brown was really good about just kind of the freedom of choice for student athletes, and that made it, or for students in general, but that made it easier for us student athletes because I feel like a lot of the struggle is like, what do I prioritize?
Right.
And because I was choosing the classes I wanted to be in, it was not hard to prioritize those classes. And then baseball was kind of on the side. It was fun. That was my free time, was to go be with the guys and hang out at the field. So.
Why economics?
I think for practical reasons, as well as that's kind of how my brain works more in the analytical and just like logical steps. And I think that follows the economic side of things rather than like, I guess I would have been interested in business. I think business was a little more theoretical. Well, I guess economics is pretty theoretical too, but business is more like reading the situation, as well as there's a little more analyticalness to the economics, and that just fit with me a little better.
I feel like how I work with like baseball stats.
Entirely that. That's how the world of baseball is becoming these days, is like that kind of analytical aspect.
Is there some overlap to that, like just being able to recognize the patterns and the trends of stuff, being able to apply that to baseball?
I would say so. I think because a huge part of economics is like the statistics side of it, and being able to understand like where stats come from, what's a trustworthy statistic, how to gather that kind of thing. It helps be able to understand like what's worth paying attention to on the baseball field, which, I mean, they make it pretty clear to us coaching side of things. They have full understanding of how it goes, but I guess just being able to be convinced and convicted in what they're telling me and like understanding it that way, I think has been helpful. Keep things simpler, if that makes sense.
You've talked about it too a couple of times. Just during your career at Brown, one of the pitching coaches there that helped you kind of hone in on the mental aspect of the game. Will you just talk a little bit more about that and kind of how you think that has helped provide that extra edge for you as a reliever?
Totally. I guess that's kind of where I had to catch up.
Yeah.
I was always focused on not necessarily the wrong things, but different sets of things. And then my pitching coach, Chris Tilton at Brown, was just really good at honing in like what matters. Can you like control the controllables? It's said all the time in this world, I guess. But like being able to focus on what matters most simplifies the mental game. I think it all comes down to how much can you simplify on the mound, because you can only pay attention to so much at a time. That he was able to simplify the game for me from a mental standpoint. What
are some of those things that you kind of simplify and focus on then?
Sure. A lot of it comes down to like breath work.
Okay.
And that's pretty honestly the best way to do it is the breath work, is being able to slow down, because once you do that, things kind of come into picture a little better. But that was like a lot of our focus was on breath work, and like even fun things like games. Like we didn't do crosswords, but like some number games that would just like lock you in before an outing. Like just the small things like that surprisingly go a long way.
Yeah.
In your time at Brown too, like especially when COVID shut everything down, the Ivy League was, at the forefront of a lot of it because it shut down early, and then the next season, they don't play either. What was that year like? Just having almost a year off from baseball. I mean, how much did that impact you in just development?
Yeah. So a lot of that, it was a blessing and a curse for me, because it also let me have my 2 seasons at Duke in the long run. And fortunately, Tilton had come to Brown by that time, so there was the focus on controlling the controllables. All that stuff was out of our hand. So a few of us did get to go down to work at the Cressy facility down in Florida, because things had started opening up. That was our second season canceled that year. So Cressy had opened up. We were able to go down. We weren't playing, so I was able to focus more on developmental side of things, which was good and bad. I think I needed more innings at the time to work, but I mean, at least I was able to do something. So I was fortunate enough to be able to work with Cressy, and they were top of the line down there. So that was awesome.
What was it like to get to go to Duke, somewhere that your dad also went for school? Was that a big factor for you wanting to go there?
That was pretty much the main factor. I more so just I had been a Duke fan my entire life, so it was my dream school. I followed their sports all the way along. It was random. I had sent out a bunch of emails, and they happened to be like the only ones that responded and said, "Yeah, you can have an opportunity to come here." And
perfect.
That was literally, and I was like, "That's all I need.
Yeah.
That's all I need. That's all I wanted to hear." And so I showed up.
So, but you were a walk-on technically, weren't you, at Duke?
Yeah.
I mean, how did that process come together? Of like, we'll let you come here, but you've got to walk onto the roster.
That was kind of like in my email. I kind of was like, "Is there an opportunity?" kind of thing. And the response was, "You will have every opportunity that any other player has in the fall to make the team. No better, no worse." But when I showed up, it wasn't like, it didn't necessarily feel that way. Like the first team meeting of the year, there was a pyramid of glove boxes that everyone had ordered over the summer or whatever. And when I was like, I didn't order one, but maybe they got me one. No, I didn't.
Got lost in the mail.
I was the only person to not get one. So that whole fall was kind of like earning my glove.
Sure.
And I got told that, like, what do you want on your glove, like, at the end of the fall? And I was like, oh my gosh, this is happening. Yeah.
Growing up as a Duke fan, I'm assuming pretty invested in Duke basketball.
Very invested.
What were the eras of teams? What were the guys that you were glued in on?
So lucky enough, Shire was like my first memories of Duke basketball, and then he became the coach, and I got to run into him a few times. But it was those Shire, Singler, Plumlee teams.
Nice. Which one?
all of them. I remember Miles Mason, and no offense to the third brother, I forget his name. But I remember watching those. I have 3 very vivid memories of watching Duke national championships, one being at home, one being in New Zealand when I was with my mom's family, and then one being while we were on vacation. And so that is very fundamental memories to my growing up is Duke basketball.
Did you get to go to some games at Cameron Indoor while you were there?
Oh yeah, I tried to go to as many as possible. It's a tiny stadium, and you can't really get into the good games. You're not able to get into Duke Carolina or anything like that. You got to camp out, and unfortunately, like the student athletes, a little harder to camp out.
Really? You
can't. You got to do. You literally have to do once you get back to campus in winter, and it's freezing cold outside. You're in a tent for the next month and a half trying to get. I can watch on TV. I can watch on TV for Duke Carolina.
So you were never a Cameron crazy in there getting.
I mean, I was in the student section a few times, but not unfortunately not for the good games.
Yeah.
One day I'll get there.
What was it like going to school there and just like that atmosphere of just that sports scene and people being so invested like that?
That was the biggest difference because I guess I didn't know how Duke was going to be. They're both Duke and Brown, very on par academic schools. Mm-hmm. But when I got there, very different in terms of their athletics. Duke's obviously way more invested, and you could tell, especially on the athletic side, the expectations were just that much higher for the sports, and then their facilities came along with it. But the academic side, the student side of things, just like some of the most impressive people I've ever met, ever seen. Mine was more of a grad program, so like my classmates were in the more 25 to 35 range, and those are some people coming from all walks of life. Yeah. One of my best friends now is the GM for the football team, the Duke football team. One of them's assistant GM for Gotham FC. So these are people doing big important things that sometimes I look at them like, wow, I throw a baseball. So like that kind of thing. But just awesome people, awesome experience.
Was it 2 master's degrees that you got there? Is that correct?
Yes. The first one and the second one like worked together. So like I couldn't get the MBA program, which was like my second master's. You needed the first one to like get into the second one, but without the work experience first. Yeah. So because I was going straight, which there was baseball motivation behind it too. But for me, it was like worst case scenario, I end up with an awesome academic background and can go from there. But at that point, I was like, baseball feels like there's a chance. So I wanted to go work with that.
You became, one of the better relievers in the nation in your time at Duke there. I mean, what changed for you? What clicked?
Potentially being like 6 years older than everyone else. Just a little more maturity helped a little bit, but also just great strength and conditioning staff around me at Duke. Priority shifted a little more to the focus on the athletic side of things. Mm-hmm. But like the coaching staff, top notch, the equipment we had, top notch, strength and condition, everything around me was just a step up. And I think I was able to just thrive off of people and group around me.
You talked about the group a little bit of those guys that were in your MBA program. Is that something that you kind of envision down the line, obviously post-baseball career, but is that something that you see maybe like a front office job or something? Does that interest you?
I would love to work in sports. Hopefully these guys are paving the way for me and doing all the networking for me. That was kind of the idea there. I got a lot of friends like doing a lot of good things that hopefully 10, 15 years from now, they'll set me up with something. But if I can work in the front office or anything like that, that'd be amazing. But from what I hear, those are really hard competitive jobs to get. So we'll see how those are.
Well, Duke worked out great. You end up getting drafted then by the Mariners in the 5th round. What do you remember about draft day? Were the Mariners on your radar? Just the day start to finish for you?
Yeah. I had no idea what to expect going into it because I guess I never thought I'd be in that position. So I kind of let it all creep up, I'd say, just like going through each day as it is. The Mariners were definitely on my radar because during my 5th year, they were the only team that had reached out to me. And I thought I was going to get drafted by them, and it didn't work out. It didn't end up working out. Now I know why. Like I was nowhere close to being good enough. Honestly, that 6th year, I really made a big adjustment. But the fact that it was the Mariners in the end who were the only ones who showed interest, and like the people I had talked to from the Mariners initially was like, wow, I really want to play for this organization. And everything I've learned since getting here has been that is absolutely the case, especially for pitchers. I can't speak too much to the hitting side, but from the pitching aspect of things, best organization you can get. But back to like draft day, yeah, for me, I woke up late. I did not expect like 5th round, no way that was supposed to happen. I got a text from the Padres almost right when I woke up saying we can't contact your agent, and I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. This isn't working out very well. But then my agent texted me like 2 minutes later being like, don't worry about that. We're working on something else right now. Check the screen. And that's how it went. Yeah. Crazy.
So from your time in college, getting to pro ball, you've been a part of a couple no-hitters.
Yeah.
One at Brown, one in Everett.
Yeah.
Tell me about the experience of going through a game as a no-hitter's developing, being a part of it, coming out of the pen to try and hold that down. What's going through your head as you take the mound in that situation?
The funny part is I feel like a lot of the time you have no idea what's going on, especially coming out of the bullpen. We're kind of focused. I mean, we're focused on the game, but not like that aspect of the game. We're more like getting prepped for our time. So I remember the Everett one, I don't think I had a clue going into it until like right before. I think someone didn't say it because you can't say it.
Of course, yeah.
But like said something adjacent that made me realize. So I mean that put the pressure on. But the Brown one, I don't think no one knew. The pitcher who fit through the last pitch had no idea that he threw a no-hitter. So like everyone in the dugout was like, on edge. But he was out there like just trying to finish a game. And we didn't win a whole lot of games that year. So we were focused on the winning aspect of it, nothing more. So yeah.
So there weren't a lot of like superstitious, amongst you guys. Are you a superstitious guy?
I am. I try to not be, but I still am. Yeah.
What's the superstitions for you?
I mean, like, the thing is, I don't want to. All right, I'll say.
No, I don't want to mess it up. I mean,
no. Let's see if it works today. So far this week, I wore a specific pair of sunglasses on Tuesday. I didn't wear them on Wednesday, so I wore them again on Thursday, and then we won. We won on Tuesday. Sorry, we lost on Wednesday. We won again on Thursday when I wore them, so I wore them again last night. We won again. You best believe I'll be wearing them. So that's kind of like where my superstitions go. I know they're like kind of nonsense, but it's like I'm not gonna mess with it.
It's only got to work once, right?
It's only got to work once. And as soon as it stops, I'll stop doing it. But the next time something comes around, I'll do it again. So
it's ever revolving.
It's ever
That's
revolving.
good.
Exactly.
Keep it
If this problem is like if I notice it, then I have to address it. So sometimes I try to just ignore everything so I don't get into the superstitious mode.
Easier said than done.
Exactly.
I've even done that for
Exactly.
myself.
Oh yeah, I mean, like there was a stretch. I think it was last season, right,
Yeah.
where the Rainiers ripped off like 6, 7 wins in a row. We had chicken fingers for dinner every single
See,
night.
that's exactly the kind of thing I would do. It's like unfortunate sometimes, like, man, I'm eating unhealthy for 6 days in a row, but we're winning 6 days in a row. That's even better.
Yeah, like day 6 of those chicken fingers.
Yeah,
like, man, we're
exactly that. Which, sorry, I just want to add, like, our pitching coach. Literally was like, why are you wearing glasses to a night game? And I had to explain it to him. Like, it sounded nonsense, but I promise it
keeps
works.
working.
I promise it works.
When we win, you'll know.
Exactly.
Let's talk about the World Baseball Classic for you. That was a really cool experience, getting to be a part of Team Israel. What was it like for you to get to kind of represent your family in that way too?
Yeah, that was the coolest experience of my life. The games were incredible. The atmosphere was unbelievable. Playing against some of the best premier talent in the world, especially in Miami, was just kind of the perfect place. We're playing against Latin teams with a huge Latin community in Miami, and they let us know for sure that they were present. The Venezuela game was unbelievably loud. The DR was unbelievably loud. Just incredible, so cool. And then while we were there, just a bunch of community events, getting to meet just a lot of people from all over. A lot of like Jewish community events that we did in between, just meeting just the people behind like Israel baseball, that kind of thing, and all the work they do to promote baseball across the world. I thought it was so cool. It was so cool meeting all these people.
Getting to pitch against, Venezuela, who eventually goes on to win it. You're in Miami, all that fanfare. Is there ever a part of you that, like, during the game, you can just kind of, take it all in and be like, man, this is, incredible?
Absolutely. I was fortunate enough kind of to pitch in like the first and second innings each time I threw.
Pitched pretty well too. Not for nothing, right?
So I kind of got the playing side out of the way and got to enjoy the rest of the game. The Venezuela one didn't necessarily go our way, but you hate losing. But it was one of those where it was just almost too cool to worry about kind of thing. It was kind of the expectation at the time too. Not that, we thought we were going to win going in, that kind of thing. But it was just incredible being able to sit back and see how baseball can bring everyone together and create such a community.
Have you been able to talk to some of the other guys here that Diaz obviously on the winning team,
Yeah.
Mastroboni went on that great run with Italy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, have you guys been able to, trade some stories about the experiences?
Definitely. A lot more during the spring training time, less so since I got here, since focus of the season. There's been a lot of baseball since then, but after spring training, getting back and getting to touch base with a lot of guys like Dunning, who played for Korea, and Arroyo, and some of the Venezuela guys, which I didn't want to talk to. It was still a sore subject. But yeah, I mean, everyone came back with holy cow, I can't believe we just got to be a part of it. Mm-hmm. It was pretty much similar vibes across everyone.
And we fast forward to now, you mentioned it, all focus here of the PCL, earning the promotion to AAA. What has it been like for you so far pitching in this new landscape? Have you had any adjustments that you've had to make? Sometimes we hear that guys notice that their pitches might move a little bit different. Have you noticed that so far?
Definitely a lot of adjustments coming here. Maybe more so than I expected. That's where the mental game kind of things, that's the consistent part. Mm-hmm. The ball's a little different. Every place we play at is very entirely different. So there's kind of getting the adjustment there, but I guess what I'm learning is that it comes back to your mental preparation and simplifying the game. You can't be worried about what the ball is going to do, that kind of thing. There's only so much you can manipulate while you're on the mound. And Coach McCarthy has been unbelievable at helping me adjust to all this stuff. And I couldn't ask for a better group of people around with this transition. And guys like having Scoot and Raposo, who, Scoot's going through the same transition as me. We're able to bounce off each other. Raposo's a familiar face behind the plate. He knows how I throw, that kind of thing. So there's been ways that the transition has been a little easier, but there's definitely transition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What has it been like working with Mike McCarthy? So you guys having some conversations over the last couple of weeks, and he's a very analytical mind too. That's just really interesting to learn from. So I'm curious your perspective, being one of those guys as well that's good at those analytics.
Totally. I think we align pretty well, and he knows where my mindset is with each thing. So he's able to kind of perfectly paint the picture of how I need to see things. And he's just been on top of it too. Whatever small thing he sees, he's on top of it before it turns into something big. And I can see he's doing the same thing with every single guy each day. So it's not just me showing up. It's not just the new guys. This is clearly how he's been all year long. And I think the pitching staff and what these guys say about him would reflect that.
Well, we're super happy to have you here in Tacoma with us once again. Rylee Beilenson joining us. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. This was fun.
Big thanks to Rylee Beilenson for joining us here on episode number 10. We've hit double digits. We're moving on up. Hard to believe. We're already at 10 episodes in here.
And just 2 to go.
And just 2 to go, right?
Season.
Yeah. 2 homestands left here for the regular season after this, and Salt Lake and El Paso to wrap it up. And that's it.
Merry Christmas, everybody. It's flying by. No, it's been a great season. It's been great getting to know them as well in terms of Beilenson getting the promotion a couple weeks ago. One of the newest faces here on the roster, and it's been fun. Some of our guests that have gone on to do some really exciting
right? I mean, our
things.
track record is pretty good here. I mean, not for nothing, but that's a good way to get popular downstairs.
Right? I mean, our last week's episode, Ryan Bliss, he made a new record here in Tacoma this season after surpassing that career franchise stolen base record set by Smod Taylor. 95 is the new number to beat, and it'll be fun to see how far he takes it, too, now that he's hit that mark.
He can get to 100.
Oh, easily,
if not more. I mean, be the first player in franchise history to hit 100 stolen bases, so excited about that. We're going to present the base to him, the record-breaking base with him tonight, recording this on Saturday, so it's going to be exciting to do that and honor him. But, yeah, you look at, the guys we've had, right? I mean, major leagues for, guys like Randy Dobnak, getting to go up and all these guys have gone on to, some bigger and better things. So
Yeah.
let's see if we can keep that going with Charlie.
Right? And you mentioned it there, but Brock Rodden, who, like you said,
Brock,
we're recording this on Saturday. Yesterday made his big league debut out in Houston, and what an exciting game for him to contribute in the way that he did.
Yeah, and not only that too, but you think about how quickly these things come together,
Yes.
right? You get John Russell was telling me, he told him, 11:30 the night before that he's going to pack his bags and go to Houston, but goes to Houston. He's from Oklahoma, so his family gets to come down, on short notice, being able to get down there to watch the debut, and then in the 8th inning, game-tying double, automatic double to tie it. I think Alex Mayer with the Mariners cooked up the stat. He's the first player in his debut in Mariners history to hit a game-tying double in the 8th or later. So, I mean, clutch spot for him. You love that.
Yeah.
Sack fly later in the game. So, super happy for Brock to get to make his debut.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, because that's exactly what he did so well here in
yeah.
Tacoma. All the doubles that he put together during the time here. And so it's always cool when you get to see it on the bigger scale of them going and doing that in the big league. So really fun week in terms of just some highlights of the guests that we've had and what they've gone on to do. But as we said, there's only 2 more homestands here in this stadium in 2026, and you won't want to miss it. So it's been a really fun stretch of Rainiers baseball, as we just talked about. Lots going on here and lots of fun promotions down this stretch as well. So come and see us in person. The weather is beautiful as always. Come and get your tickets at TacomaRainiers.com. Stop by in person and get your tickets at the box office or give us a call as well. But Charlie Beilenson joining us today for episode 10 of the Cheney Chat. For Andy Helwig, I'm Rylee Pay, and we'll see you next week.
Woo!